Hey, Eagles fans, it's time to break down everything happening in the locker room, on the field, and behind the scenes because there's a lot to unpack after the last few games. We've seen highs, lows, and everything in between, and now we finally have some clarity on where this team is, how the players are reacting, and what might be coming up next. Let's start with something that's been hard to ignore, the kicking game. Jake Elliott has been under fire, and for good reason, over the past 2 seasons. His performance has been inconsistent, and while he had moments of brilliance, especially during the Super Bowl run, the last couple of years have shown cracks in his consistency. Field goals that should be routine have been missed, and it's led to some critical moments slipping away. There's been a lot of chatter about loyalty and the team sticking with him, but the truth is, sometimes loyalty has to be paired with accountability, and right now, Elliott needs either a wake-up call or real competition to push him to perform at the level this team requires. One aspect people often overlook is the long snapper. This is one of those subtle pieces of the puzzle that can make or break a kicker's success. The snaps that Elliott has been receiving recently have been far from ideal, and it's fair to question whether some of the misses are less about Elliott and more about the ball being delivered poorly. If the long snapper can clean things up, we might see Elliott's accuracy improve, but if not, changes have to happen. The missed opportunities against the Chargers were a harsh reminder that every little detail counts, especially in tight games where the margin between winning and losing is razor thin. Moving from special teams to accountability and leadership, Kemp Jurgens has been stepping up and making it clear that there are areas the team needs to tighten. He's been vocal about practice habits, communication, and preparation, emphasizing that mistakes don't just happen on game day, they're often rooted in the week's work. It's refreshing to see a player openly address these issues because it sets a tone for the rest of the squad. Leadership isn't just about calling plays or being the loudest voice. It's about making sure the entire team is aligned, prepared, and motivated to execute at the highest level. On the offensive line, Jurgens' comments hint at a need for more consistency, a cleaner execution during practice, and better attention to detail. When the line isn't clicking, everything else on offense suffers, from quarterback timing to running lanes. And it all traces back to how prepared and disciplined the line is during the week. It's the small, almost invisible details that can determine whether a team looks dominant or struggles in critical moments. Then there's A.J. Brown, who has been another focal point of both frustration and hope. He's taken accountability publicly, which is not something every player is willing to do. Brown's performances often swing between game-changing plays and critical drops, which can feel frustrating for fans watching. But the willingness to acknowledge mistakes and accept responsibility is exactly the type of mentality this team needs during a challenging stretch. Brown has shown that even when things go wrong, he's analyzing, learning, and committed to improving. His partnership with Jalen Hurts is also worth noting because there's a visible connection and trust forming on the field, even in moments of adversity. They're showing that resilience and communication are key components of a successful team, and it's encouraging to see these dynamics developing, particularly when the team is facing a string of losses. One of the more interesting storylines has been the locker room vibe versus what fans perceive from the outside. Early in the season, when the Eagles were winning consistently, some players seemed tense or frustrated even after victories. Fans questioned whether there was chemistry or satisfaction among the squad. Now, in a losing streak, something surprising is happening. The players are visibly coming together. The sideline energy is improving, smiles are returning, and the sense of unity is stronger than it appeared during the wins. It's a paradox that sometimes the struggle brings a team closer, and the Eagles might be experiencing that very phenomenon. Watching A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts, and Saquon Barkley interact and support each other, even in defeat, suggests that the foundation for a more cohesive team is forming. And that's a promising sign for the weeks ahead, of course. No discussion about the Eagles' offense is complete without mentioning Lane Johnson. His potential return could be a turning point for this team. Johnson has been a cornerstone of the offensive line for years, and when he's on the field, the unit looks fundamentally stronger, more confident, and more capable of protecting the quarterback and opening lanes for the run game. His absence has exposed vulnerabilities, and while backups like Fred Johnson have done their best, there's a noticeable difference in performance when Lane is out. His return isn't just about filling a position, it's about restoring stability, leadership, and confidence across the entire offense. It's critical for the Eagles to not only get him back in shape and ready, but also to consider long-term solutions for succession planning. Because one player should not hold such a disproportionate impact over the team's performance. Football is the ultimate team sport, and depth matters immensely, especially in key positions like right tackle as the season progresses. There's a lot to monitor: player accountability, practice habits, mental resilience, and the integration of key personnel like Lane Johnson will all shape the trajectory of the Eagles. In the coming weeks, what's encouraging is seeing players step up, accept responsibility, and maintain trust in one another despite challenges, the special teams issues, offensive line struggles, and individual performance inconsistencies are all areas that can be corrected with focus, preparation, and the return of critical players. The narrative is evolving, and while fans naturally react to wins and losses emotionally, the internal perspective suggests a team that is working through its obstacles, learning from mistakes, and positioning itself to rebound stronger. The dynamics between veterans, rising stars, and leaders like Cam Jurgens, A.J. Brown, and Jalen Hurts indicate that growth is happening even amid adversity, which could pay dividends as the season continues. At the heart of it, the Eagles are navigating a complicated stretch of football where mental toughness, preparation, and trust in one another are just as important as raw talent. Each game, each practice, and each interaction contributes to the larger picture, and the progress might not always be immediately visible in the win-loss column. The combination of accountability, leadership, and the eventual return of key players like Lane Johnson creates a potential turning point. Observing how these elements interact and influence the team's performance will be fascinating, and there's reason for cautious optimism. The players are learning, adapting, and striving to align as a cohesive unit. That process, even if imperfect, is critical for the long-term success of the team. Fans might not see every small improvement on the field, but the underlying growth in mentality, preparation, and communication will inevitably manifest in results as the season unfolds. Now, moving forward, there's no ignoring the impact of momentum and confidence in football. The Eagles are at a stage where each play, each drive, and each sequence matters more than ever. When you look at the losses piling up, it's easy for fans to panic, but within the locker room, there's a noticeable shift. Players are starting to recalibrate, focusing on what they can control and building trust in one another. That mental adjustment is just as critical as any physical improvement. Confidence can be fragile, but when it's paired with preparation and accountability, it becomes a force that can carry a team through adversity. The Eagles have veterans like Saquon Barkley who bring experience and leadership, alongside younger players who are hungry to prove themselves. The combination creates an environment where mistakes are acknowledged, lessons are learned, and growth happens quickly. Even in the face of losses, seeing players like A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts smile and support each other demonstrates that the team culture is shifting in a positive direction. Speaking of Jalen Hurts, his development as a quarterback continues to be fascinating to watch. The pressure of expectations is immense, but he's handling it with a combination of resilience and maturity. The missteps on the field aren't being ignored, but rather, they're being processed constructively. Hurts is learning how to balance leadership with accountability, ensuring that the offense operates efficiently even when things go wrong. This balance is critical because a quarterback's mindset often dictates the rhythm and confidence of the entire offense. When Hurts is engaged, focused, and connected with his teammates, the offense looks explosive. The timing with A.J. Brown, the synergy with the running backs, and the communication with the offensive line all improve. Conversely, any disruption in focus or confidence can magnify small mistakes into game-changing errors. That's why the mental component of Hurts' game is just as important as his physical skills. Every throw, every decision, and every adjustment in the pocket contributes to shaping the offensive identity. And Hurts is demonstrating growth with each passing week. Special teams, as previously mentioned, remain an area of concern. While Jake Elliott's struggles have been a talking point, the root causes extend beyond the kicker himself. The precision of the long snapper, the protection schemes, and the snap-to-kick timing all play a role in overall performance. Correcting these nuances can transform missed opportunities into made field goals, which in a tight league can mean the difference between wins and losses. What's encouraging is that the coaching staff appears aware of the problem, and adjustments are being made behind the scenes. If those adjustments succeed, the confidence for Elliott and the special teams unit will increase, translating to better execution in critical moments. Football is a game of details, And when even small corrections occur, the ripple effect can be substantial. The Eagles' ability to identify, address, and correct these issues demonstrates an organizational commitment to winning and in. Understanding that championships are built on consistent execution across all phases of the game. Lane Johnson's anticipated return cannot be overstated as a cornerstone of the offensive line. His presence brings stability, strength, and experience that the unit desperately needs. Johnson is more than a player. He's a leader whose influence extends beyond his position when he's on the field. It elevates the performance of those around him. From the interior linemen to the skilled players relying on protection and timing, his absence has been felt acutely, with gaps appearing in protection and rushing lanes that weren't present. When he was healthy, the strategic planning surrounding his return also highlights the importance of depth in football. Teams must be prepared for injuries to key players. And while Johnson is irreplaceable in the short term, the organization will need to develop a long-term solution to ensure the team isn't overly reliant on a single individual. This combination of immediate impact and long-term planning underscores the complexity of building a successful team in the NFL. Accountability remains a recurring theme across the team. Players like Cam Jurgens and A.J. Brown exemplify the growing culture of self-awareness. They recognize mistakes, communicate openly about them, and make efforts to improve daily. This level of transparency is essential in a sport where split-second decisions can define outcomes. For the offensive line, it means reviewing every snap, understanding where communication broke down, and refining technique. For skilled players, it involves breaking down missed opportunities, adjusting routes, and improving timing with the quarterback. The level of detail and commitment to improvement is remarkable, particularly in a league as competitive as the NFL, where the margin between success and failure is incredibly narrow. The Eagles' emphasis on accountability and growth demonstrates an organizational philosophy that values continuous improvement over temporary fixes. There's also a growing sense of camaraderie and resilience within the locker room. Losses can often fracture teams, but the Eagles are showing signs of cohesion despite setbacks. Players are leaning on each other, offering support, and maintaining a sense of purpose even in adversity. This dynamic is visible on the sideline, in practice, and during media interactions. When a team can sustain positivity and collaboration in tough moments, it becomes more difficult for opponents to exploit weaknesses. The ability to recover mentally, stay focused, and execute plays efficiently defines the teams that succeed deep into the season. Watching the Eagles navigate this mental and emotional challenge is both intriguing and hopeful, as it suggests that the core group is developing the resilience needed for future success. FlyEaglesFly News. Family, smash subscribe and hit like. Your support keeps the freshest Philadelphia Eagles updates flying in. Drop your take in the comments and let's talk birds. A wave of speculation rippled through the football world after a sudden report suggested that two unnamed star players have quietly agreed to join the Philadelphia Eagles, with sources inside ESPN hinting that the deals are all but sealed, though no official announcement has been made. The mere suggestion of such explosive movement has already set off a frenzy among fans, insiders, and rival teams trying to understand what is unfolding behind closed doors. Whispers around the league describe the situation as unusually silent, with both players reportedly completing negotiations under strict confidentiality. Insiders claim the front office has been operating with an extra layer of secrecy, fueling suspicion that the Eagles may be preparing a bold shift in strategy. Some executives around the league have even described the atmosphere as a calm before a major storm, with front office phones suddenly going quiet and normally talkative agents avoiding public comment. What adds even more intrigue is that the two athletes in question are said to be high-impact names, players capable of altering the balance of power immediately upon arrival. The rumor mill has erupted with speculation ranging from elite defensive cornerstones to dynamic playmakers often linked to blockbuster moves. Social media, meanwhile, has spiraled into guessing games, with fans dissecting every cryptic post, emoji, and interview snippet that might hint at incoming reinforcements within Philadelphia. The mood is a mix of excitement and cautious disbelief. Some staffers reportedly reacted with surprise when the first whispers circulated through team corridors, hinting that even individuals inside the building were kept in the dark until the last moment. Analysts suggest that such secrecy could indicate a strategic attempt by the front office to outmaneuver competitors and secure top-tier talent without interference. Whether the rumor proves true or not, one thing is certain: The Eagles have become the center of one of the most electric storylines of the season, and until the front office speaks publicly, the suspense and the speculation will only continue to grow. That's a wrap from FlyEaglesFly News. If you want the fastest Eagles updates, subscribe, drop a like, and turn on the bell. Sound off in the comments. Let's talk birds.